I never really was able to claim a space, like a room of one's own, right? As Virginia Woolf would say, to really go deep into that sort of creative process. And I've always longed to create space like that.
Welcome to Beyond the Ping Pong Table, the podcast about company culture that puts people first. In this episode, I want to take you guys behind the scenes on a little something I've been working on. It's a co-working space designed for women entrepreneurs and creatives. And as I've been building this, I've really been thinking about a lot of the themes and concepts that we've discussed on this podcast. And so I thought this would be a really great time to share with the audience kind of the ideas that we've been brainstorming and kind of take you along the way. With me is my co-working buddy and partner on this future business venture, Tricia and Farran. Welcome, Tricia. Let's go back to how we first met, and I'm going to let Tricia start that story.
Okay. So, as you know, you and I are both women, we're both filmmakers, and we're both moms in our community. And that's kind of a little bit of a rare trifecta. I don't know quite as many women that are doing what you and I have been trying to do for a couple of decades. So whenever I notice that someone's doing something similar, I pay attention. And in our case, I didn't know you in real life, which at this point feels super shocking to me that we haven't been best friends forever.
Forever and ever.
But I knew you existed. I'd seen social media posts by your company. I had noticed some of your work. It's documentary in nature, as is my own. I think we both have different sort of paths, but there was a lot of crossover. I was into it. I was into you. And so I was basically following you on social media, your Instagram, and then your LinkedIn took a turn. From my perspective, over the summer, you started writing your summer school dropout series, and you were writing personally, you were writing about your boys, you were writing about this sort of attempt to do something really different with your family and the way you spent your summer and the way you were trying to connect to your community. And all of a sudden I was like, not just kind of a silent lurking fan, I started commenting because a lot of what you were saying was resonating with me. And you know, again, as a mama filmmaker, trying to balance it, trying to figure out who am I, how does this work?
And I have to just interject real quick. Like, you would leave me comments, and that was really encouraging for me to keep writing this because I was putting this like personal information on LinkedIn, which was a little confusing to me, but I was being pushed by my business coach to get more personal. So when I saw that, it was very encouraging for me to keep going, and I have to mention that.
Good. Well, and I'm a huge fan of personal storytelling. Like, I feel like that is where the real connections are made. That's where we really see each other. That's where we get to be seen, right? It's true in the film work that I produce, but it's also true in any creative projects that I do. So you were being brave, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm into this. And so I started just posting comments. And then I think I messaged you and asked if you wanted to get coffee. You were on the journey, so you kind of blew me off / didn't respond away.
It still is unclear. I'm not sure I was still on the journey. But yeah,
so we didn't connect right away.
Yeah, but didn't you want to connect after you knew about Second Street?
For me, there were two parts. There was summer school dropout, which is maybe vaguer in the way that I reached out to you, just sort of like, you're a mom filmmaker, I'm a mom filmmaker, I would love to have coffee. And I feel like you were still on the trip. I'm not sure about the timing of that. Then on your Instagram, you were posting stories as you were renovating this beautiful space that we're in now. And I was interested, and then you actually said these magical words of co-working space.
You did.
And I was like,
I was teasing it, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing really, but
and it was like beautiful, and I could see that it was like this house with tons of character, and like, you know, pops of color were happening. So then I think I reached out again, and probably with more intentionality, maybe a little more intensity, like, hey, I'd really like to meet you, let's talk. So we did. We met for coffee.
That's right. And by then, I think I had moved a desk in here, and I was like kind of working as I was getting the finishing touches done. And we'd met for coffee and like totally hit it off. It felt like a first date.
Yeah, it did.
I think you said that when you first came in. And so and basically before we even left the cafe, like, you were like, I'm in. I want to do this. And I had originally was thinking, okay, well, I'll have like a hot desk and I can maybe rent it out and maybe it'll be an opportunity to make some money on, you know, the space. But realistically, having someone that is committed to working here was a much safer bet. And I had no idea what it would lead to.
Right?
I mean, I had some idea after coffee, but basically, Tricia, I did convince her to come see the space before she signed the lease because I'm sure her husband would have appreciated that.
Can we mention that part?
Yeah.
His warning.
Yeah.
So he knows that I often come in hot and I really like people and I get very enthusiastic. And so he is a voice of calm and reason in my life. And he just said, listen, don't sign anything right away.
Yeah.
She might be crazy.
And he's not wrong.
Right. But like all his protective instincts around like, take a breath, take your time, figure this out. We completely ignored his advice because we got the vibe from each other. And I think we both were like, it's the right kind of crazy. It's the right kind of enthusiasm. I think we mirror each other a lot in that way. So, I think literally by the end of coffee, I said, I'm in. I think within the next day I had come down and seen the space and we signed the lease and I moved in.
Yep. Moved in January and here we are mid-March. And wow, how much I feel I've grown and learned and been inspired by having just another body in this room. I mean, that's like the very least of it, right? Just having another person in your space as two extroverts, like definitely something we needed. But I don't know where, like, so I kind of told Tricia, I was like, so we've got this one room, but we have this whole house. And I would love to take it over. Like I have plans for the backyard and maybe doing some kind of community music venue that's family friendly. But like, I don't know how we get from point A to point B because it's going to cost me a lot of money to do this. And we would be taking on a huge financial burden taking over this whole place. But then Tricia was inviting different friends from the community into the office to check it out. They wanted to just see it and congratulate her. And some you were bringing in to help with their resumes or preparing for interviews and stuff. All women. And they'd come into the space and they'd fall in love with it. Yeah. And they would be like, is there room for me here? Can I work in this corner over here? Right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm really onto something here. And like I have to say too, when I designed this space, at first I was thinking coworking. So I had to make it something that everyone would love. And I decided to not do that. I did exactly what I loved. I wanted it to be on brand for me. And so you see that in this space, but sure enough, it attracts like-minded, women, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's full of light. It's full of art. It's warm. It invites conversation. We've created kind of spaces where people can sit and talk and connect over work, like you said, but it's filled with music often because we both really like to have music playing while we're working. Yeah. It's a vibe. Yeah. It's a vibe. And people really like that vibe when they walk into the space.
Yes.
So I want to say, I think that there's a backstory there for both of us, but I also think this applies to many of the folks in our community we're starting to see, which is that people have experienced a lot of loneliness at work. Yeah. It was greatly exacerbated by the pandemic. I think locking down and people starting to work from home. I know for myself, I'm an educator. I was suddenly teaching online. I'm a filmmaker. I was having to do collaborations digitally and online and, in spaces masked. It just really changed the way that I was doing my work. But even before the pandemic, because I have children, right, who are now in their late teens, early 20s, but a lot of years I was trying to work from home, like in the kids' playroom, and I would set up a table and I would try to, edit while my kids were playing. And I never really was able to claim a space, like a room of one's own, right? As Virginia Woolf would say, to really go deep into that sort of creative process. And I've always longed to create space like that for myself. I used to teach at a university, and you would think that would maybe be sort of a bustling environment in which to do your work. And it, for me, was not. I was in a basement. There were not a lot of other professors coming and going. I happened to be near the production studio, so I had a lot of my students in the editing suites, and I would leave my door open and kids would come and go. And so I developed really strong relationships with the students, but I didn't have a strong peer community there. So I've had this lifetime of being a team player. I chose film because it is a team sport.
Yeah.
I love collaborating.
Yeah.
I do not like to work alone. I mean, there are times when I'm editing and I know that I have to, and I focus and I get into the flow, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love that creative synergy of working with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a long time of, because of the childcare responsibilities, the needs of balancing my work life, and just the nature of the nonprofits and universities and spaces where I've worked, it hasn't felt like a vibrant collaborative space.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the backstory that I was bringing to our coffee date.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that I think you can talk about your own experience of loneliness.
Mine was very similar. Yeah. Like, when we had our first child, we actually lived in this house, which is funny. And this was my office, actually. And at first I was like, that was awesome. It was so convenient. I was like, oh wow, I'm so lucky and privileged to be able to work for myself and be able to have my baby in the other room napping, and I can be working in here. Or if I had a nanny later, like they were just one room over, and I could breastfeed, I could do what I need. And then in the beginning, it was super convenient. And we moved when we had our second son, and we had another. And there was another, basically our third bedroom has always been the kind of the catch-all, spare bedroom for like when the in-laws come in, but then the desk and any other workout equipment, anything would be piled in that room. So it really didn't feel always like my own space. And once that second child came around, there was just a lot more stuff in our house. And so it was hard because I would wake up as mom, you know what I mean? And getting the kids off to school and, ready and things like that. And then once that was done, I'd come back to the house to work, it was like, oh, there's those dishes in the sink, and there's piles of laundry, and I can't even see. And I couldn't start my day until I did something there. Or if I did start my day and I had to walk out to the bathroom, I'd be like in a bad mood all over again, So there was a point, I think, when my second son was 2, that my husband and I were talking about there's something's just been not working for me here, and one of the things we agreed was maybe I should find a co-working space, go back to the Workspace. I used to be there years prior, and that immediately made a difference. Being out of my house, just getting on my bike and riding over there and setting up my space was, it was a hot desk space, but just getting out of the house was huge. It made it huge.
I just want to piggyback on that and say that I think we both really firmly believe that there's a direct line to better mental health.
Yeah.
And having a good workspace.
Yeah.
For both of us, that was really true.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I knew moving in here, my mental health was going to improve quickly. Yeah. And it has.
Yeah.
Which impacts all the parts of my life joyously, right? I'm a better mom. I'm a better filmmaker. I'm a better speaker. I'm a better, all the things.
Yeah.
Because I get to come and get this energy every day in a space.
Yeah.
So mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing I would say, though, that was lacking with the WeWork was that everyone was kind of siloed. Everyone was doing their own thing. Everyone has their earbuds in. So you never really feel like it's not very inviting to go, oh, hi, hey,
right.
What's your name? What do you do? We want to have some coffee, whatever. So my actual interactions with people were pretty limited that first year I was there. Yeah. So going back to the idea of creating my own space and then maybe having some people coming in, that was kind of the inspiration, I guess, behind why I took back this room in this house. One of the things you and I were both doing when we got here, and it wasn't necessarily in sync with each other, but we would take a minute to write and work on our writing. And I think what was coming up for me a lot was the power of accountability. And that was something that I guess I needed in my life more than I realized. Yeah. Because with that WeWork membership, it'd be really easy still to stay home and only go 2-3 days a week. There's been a pull these last few months to come in, even if it's just for a couple of hours, just to see your face, share, and, just bounce ideas off of. And I don't know, it draws me to come in every day. Yeah.
So I would say for me with the writing, my creative practice right now is focused much more on personal storytelling and writing about the impact the pandemic has had on my family, mental health challenges within my family. My mother's health has deteriorated greatly in the last couple of years. So I'm processing a lot of really hard, really personal stuff. And that's not fun to do. So it's really easy to not do.
Yeah.
When you mentioned like working from home and like, oh my God, there was always a mound of laundry calling, or there were always dishes to be done or errands to be run. Like it takes discipline to do hard creative work. And having a space has created a container. And then for me, because you are also someone who is creative and interested in exploring this kind of storytelling, literally being able to say, hey, would you read what I wrote this week? You know, can you give me some feedback? What do you think? Or I just want to share this with you. It's on my mind. And then like, because you are very, very good at marketing and branding, you helped me think about like, okay, don't just write, then how might you publish that on your LinkedIn? What should your LinkedIn be looking like? How do you want to start building your persona there? That's new for me. It's not something I had done previously in my professional career. So all these little sort of tidbits keep coming up about like, you have capabilities, I have capabilities, we're making each other better, we're holding each other accountable.
Yes.
And so I think both of us are pretty excited about like, okay, how do we grow that by 10? So how do we invite other folks in and keep building on that energy? And I think, you know, we want to build something new that neither of us have ever had before. And we have really strong feelings about what would work well for us, what is already working well between the two of us. So what are we going to build?
We want to create a space that welcomes women, like-minded women that are creatives and entrepreneurs, and give them a space to not only work in, but collaborate with others, hold workshops, events that will all benefit us.
Yeah. I mean, I think you and I both, because we are specifically, we've been filmmakers, technology keeps changing. We keep having to do all kinds of personal development for ourselves. And we recognize like, it's really edifying and it's really fun to keep learning. So like, what if we're in a building with people who have expertise in all these different areas and we're like, oh, let's keep learning. So as an example, you and I are going to take an audio recording and mixing class coming up soon in April with a colleague that I've collaborated with before. And she teaches at SF Jazz. And then instantly we were like, oh, what if she could come here and she could teach folks in our community who want to learn podcasting, and learning how to do mixing and mastering would be helpful to them, right? So kind of connecting the dots between like, we do have a network of really talented, really amazing colleagues. How can we kind of bring that into one space so that lots of people can benefit from that expertise? That's thrilling to me. Right? Like in our own space, we're going to create these educational opportunities, these connections. And then I say this every time I get a chance to public speak about like women entrepreneurs, women creatives, then we hire each other. We have to hire each other. And I think that's one of the values that we're both holding. Is like, we talked through, like, should it be a nonprofit? Should it be a collective? And we both feel really strongly that this is a house where business will be conducted, right? Like, we want to make money, and we want
there
to
will be
encourage
exchanges of monies between all of us.
We want to encourage women to charge what they're worth.
Absolutely.
That's been a challenge for many of us over the years,
is,
right? Like, we compromise, we take the gig because it speaks to our heart. We work too hard for too little money. I'll speak for myself. I've been doing that for a very long time, and I really want to be paid fairly as I come into, for me, this sort of like next chapter of my career. And being around really excellent women who are really good at what they do helps me do that. You know?
And another big thing that I saw, I mean, it was really highlighted during the pandemic, but the challenges, as any of us creatives and entrepreneurs are, like, promoting ourselves and creating content. Like, content is king, and we know that as content creators, but we often get to create for other people. But I'll tell you, when I tried to create my own content, sitting by yourself in front of a camera, there's like, well, that's lonely and awkward. And then you might be out of focus the whole time, or you forgot to hit a button, something goes wrong. And during the pandemic, I created a course, and I was trying to help people like just simplify the video and audio process, so that they could just show up, click a button, and then just do what they're good at and talk about, what they're a subject matter expert in. And so one of the things that's really important to me in this space for this podcast, and for other people who want to produce podcasts or other content, is to create a studio that is like beautiful, soundproof, and just like plug and play. Like that is, I know that a lot of people struggle with this. And so I want to create a room that any of us can go in and use, and just like be able to
Yeah. Well,
speak on what we. Yeah.
So one of the things I would say, having been an educator for so long, it's usually my female students, the girls and young women, who can be quickly overwhelmed and intimidated by gear.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my missions in life is to just be like, no. Like, gear is just a tool that you can learn, that you can figure out how to operate. It's really, truly about the power of your story, what you have to say, the images that you're going to create, the voice you're going to use. So like, let's master the technology, but then kind of move that to the side and really focus on the storytelling. So for me, this idea of creating a content studio here, it's like it eliminates a barrier and creates access that's so much easier. And we can just get to the heart of what do we really want to do, which is create that content. I would also say for me, creating content alone, it feels a little less authentic because I am about storytelling and connection and authenticity.
Yeah.
And so speaking to a camera by myself feels a little loco taco. Talking to a friend or someone who's even behind the camera or who's helping me produce the work, asking me good questions beforehand, maybe interjecting and asking clarifying questions. That's the kind of stuff you and I know how to do because we've been documentary producers for so many years. So I hope that our spot's not just going to be like plug and play and you have no interaction with us, but like let us help you make the story even better.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Clarify your thinking and help you get it on.
Yes.
I was going to say on tape, but that makes me sound real old.
Well, I know. I even struggle with saying filmmaker because it's not film anymore. But
right.
You know.
Right. It was back in the day.
It was.
It's a vibe.
So in doing this, in creating this, we know this is not something we're just going to be able to do overnight. And we really want to create, we really want to be really thoughtful about who's coming into this space.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of going to become a sacred space, right? For us, especially, right? Like, and so why I think this is relevant to the Beyond the Ping Pong Table podcast is because we are kind of building a culture here. We're basically, we're starting with the culture. That's really what it is.
I think we can identify what are some of the elements of the culture that we want to build.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, connection. We love alliteration. So connection, collaboration, cash flow, get that money.
Oh, are you coming up with these on the fly? I like this.
I am.
I love this.
I am. But I mean, we know what we want people to feel like when they walk into the space. We know the kind of energy we want for people to have in terms of like openness of collaboration. Please talk to each other. Please feel free to offer your expertise. We want people that really want to build a space where people feel empowered to do their own thing, but also excited about drawing in others. We want to invite people to come and like listen to live music. We want to do events with audiences. We want to build an actual third space, a community space where people want to come and participate in what we have to offer. We talked about like health and wellness workshops. We talked about, for our purposes of the folks in the building, we want to put in a gym.
We're going to make a bougie ass gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like, because
why not? This is what we need for our mental
we
well-being.
know how hard it is to fit in taking care of our own bodies.
Yeah.
Working out.
Yeah.
Being busy, moms, having crazy schedules, workloads, 14-hour days, whatever it is. So easy to sacrifice our own wellness. And we don't want people to do that here. Right?
Nope.
This is a space where lots of different integrated things are going on. They're going to help you be the best you can be.
Exactly.
Right? And for you, that's bringing in your Peloton so you can get in a workout.
Yeah, and share it with all the ladies.
Love it.
I mean, there was nothing better than when I've had so many variations of my work schedule with the kids constantly changing, and there was nothing better than that noon spin class I used to go to. So to feel like it's just 2 doors down, I could hop on for 30 minutes and get right back to work after that is awesome. So I know a lot of us will benefit from that.
And I love that we're right in the heart of downtown San Jose.
Yes.
We care about arts and culture.
Yes.
We care about being able to walk to theaters and...
Speaking of which.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, we should talk about the event we just hosted.
Yeah. You start.
You were doing that already.
You start.
Okay. So in this effort, we're like, okay, we're going to do events. So we have a small space that we can only fit probably about 6 people. I think we could fit 8.
I feel like we had 9? Did we have 8
No,
or
I think
9?
we had 8, but like I think we were going into it like thinking 6 would
Yeah,
probably
it
be
worked. It
the
worked with
right
about 8,
amount.
probably.
And that's, again, just for the small room that we're currently occupying. And so we were like, what's something we can do where we can invite people into the space? Because this is kind of like our testing ground. Like we're kind of like inviting people in.
Right.
We want to show them. We want them to experience it. We want to talk about the concepts.
We want to see who really connects with those underlying values.
Yes.
This is not a hot desk situation.
Right.
This is a building community situation.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So Quest is currently going on in San Jose, in downtown San Jose. That's just right down the street. There's the California Theater. And we hosted a quick little happy hour before the event where we got to meet about 6 or 7 women in the space and have cheese and wine and share ideas and talk about what we do. And everyone was vibing really, really hard in this space.
Yeah, I mean, it was this tiny microcosm of what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like each person that walked... Oh, by the way, alliteration. That event was called Sisterhood and Cinequest.
Yep.
We're trying to do that.
We're trying to do that.
Part of our brand.
Yes.
Because we're funny and clever and we amuse ourselves. But each person that came in, has like a physical reaction to the beauty of the space, which is thanks to you and your vision and your aesthetic. It feels, just it's beautiful and it's filled with light, which for me, for my happiness, for my productivity, but you can see when people walk through the door, they get that feeling. And then there was just like a bunch of eclectic different folks who do different things. Some of them were personal friends of ours. We have a few family members here, but we just wanted to sort of like get together and start talking, and the connections immediately started happening and people were exchanging numbers and we were laughing, and it was, for me, an example of like people are hungry for these kinds of positive women-centered spaces. It was immediately joy-filled and potentially productive, right? And we're trying to sort of read the room. Who wants to get involved in this? Who wants to commit to this kind of a venture?
Yeah.
When we immediately are clear, this is not going to be rent a space, come and go. It's like, let's try to build this together. Our lens is, are you a creative? Are you an entrepreneur? Do you have something of value you can offer to the community, whether that be workshops? We're trying to sort of bring in people that want to help, engage themselves, teach others, be a part of making us all better at what we do.
Yeah.
So kicking it off with like a cocktail party and a movie was a low-key way to do it, but I felt like it was super successful.
It was super successful, and it confirmed to me that, okay, this is good. This is definitely what I want to put my energy into, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think it'd be cool to pop in here on the podcast as we go through this journey and share some of the things we've been learning along the way as we start to build this. It's kind of our own company culture here. Right. Our own community culture.
It is. And it's based on our lived experiences, right? As women, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as creatives.
Yes.
Like, we know what has not worked and has stifled us, and we know what has helped us sing and do the best work, right? And so we want to try to build that from the ground up. Lucky everyone else who gets to come in and be a part of our cool thing.
I know. This cool thing that we still haven't named yet, but maybe we'll have a name by the time this episode goes live and it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah, well, we can't pan over, but we do have a chalkboard where we're like writing up all of our fun ideas and brainstorming and asking folks who visit to give us good ideas. So we'll get there. Yeah,
and if you have any good ideas, you can probably post them in the comments.
Yes. And remember, we do like alliteration.
We like alliteration. So. Cool. Well, this was awesome.